Welcome to downtown Coolsville. Population, us. Iron Giant mac and cheese, next. When your weekend's all spent up and you got Monday coming down the pike, sometimes all you need is a little comfort to get you through to Monday. Mac and Cheese Movies, where we believe in comfort food and comfort movies. Hello, welcome to Mac and Cheese Movies. I'm Scotty Coppage. And he's full of more cream than a Turbo Twinkie, James Rumfeld.
So slutty.
Right in the cream hole.
And he believes in more conspiracies than a government agent, Ben Rimmert.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he lives in a junkyard and hits on your mom, Joel Estes.
Every time.
Today we're going to be talking about the Iron Giant. In honor of the Iron Giant, we have Turbo Twinkies. How did we do them, Joel? And was the prep time taste? What do you think?
Yeah, nothing. I just went to the store after work and I grabbed a box of Twinkies and a box of extra creamy Ready Whip. And I think we should have James describe how you prepare everything.
So what I read was the Turbo Twinkie is a creation of the director. He said he really used to eat them when he was a kid. But you take the Twinkie and you insert the nozzle into the cream hole and blast more cream in there. And it was pretty tasty.
It was creamy.
It was. The best part was watching Scotty do it.
Yeah.
He got a little excited.
Here's a clip.
Yeah, it was.
Go to the link in our bio for our Scotty's OnlyFans where he just eats Turbo Twinkies all fucking day.
He takes tips on that.
If you want a 10,000 calorie snack, fire it up.
I thought about doing like the Twinkies homemade, and because I did it for Ghostbusters. Yeah, because they made the really big Twinkie, and I made a really big Twinkie.
It was awesome.
And yeah,
that thing was a log, bro.
I don't know why I
was.
missed that one.
It was.
That was good, dude. He made the ecto cooler.
I think you had some kid shit to do.
Fucking kids.
Yeah, it was.
I love you
He
guys.
didn't have shit to do. He was just
but
flaking.
This was. We already did it, so we just did the store-bought stuff and kept it legit, and yeah, just move forward.
Well, let's get into it. The Iron Giant tells the story of a young boy named Hogarth Hughes who discovers and befriends a gigantic alien robot that crash lands from outer space. First taste, first time seeing it, your relationship to it. Why is it a mac and cheese movie? Why don't we go with you first, James?
I just want to say thanks for doing a full animated movie on here. I'm really excited about this one. I think this movie's phenomenal. I saw it for the first time after it had come out, and I was living in my dorm room. I didn't see it opening weekend. I was already in the Air Force. This one missed me when it debuted, which if you watch the documentary, it fucking missed everybody. It came out the same weekend as The Sixth Sense, so R.I.P. Yeah. But it's one of those movies that I could watch endlessly. I think it's like a perfect film. Even, I mean, I love animation, and that part of it is so incredible, but if you make this a live action movie and Spielberg directed this, it would be, it would have been your favorite movie as a kid growing up. Anyway, yeah.
This one, 99, I was a senior in high school, and a movie like this completely missed me.
Same.
I've been around it for years. Yeah, this is the first time I've ever sat down and purposely watched it from start to finish. Funny enough, last time I was down to see my sister, my nephew was watching this in the living room, so it was it's always been on somewhere, and I really enjoyed it. It was really cool. Yeah, I liked it. But
and also yeah. Ben Ben was not really wanting to do this podcast, so I want to hear his first taste on this movie.
Honestly, overall, it was a good movie. You forget, you watch animated stuff, but you forget actual hand drawn real deal and what the difference is. Everything's so crisp and so I don't know what it is, CGI or whatever, special effects or whatever, and this just has that old school
Disney feel.
I got a little bit of nostalgia going on with that. I really enjoyed it overall. It's like an adventure. Kids are exploring and not necessarily getting into trouble, but just curious, and I can relate to that a lot. When I was a kid, you're going through the water sewers or
right
going in the woods and making a fort and all that, and that really reminded me of that time. And then they just added on to that in the in the 50s or whatever. Technology's not the same and all that stuff. the only thing that kind of really got me was like, it's kind of a sad movie. And, you know, I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel good, man. But
The end is heavy.
I really was surprised how much I enjoyed the movie. Yeah, man. It's not better than Sinners, though.
I heard about it in 2000. Been on the watch list since 2000. I saw the team watching it and Ted Lasso. My first time was last weekend, and I watched it with James. I didn't want to get distracted by my phone and like house stuff. I wanted James to watch it for me, to like point out things with the animation, things with the story. And by the end of the movie, I was just like floored, and I was just like, I like was really kind of speechless at the end of this movie, and just kind of the stakes were so high towards the end. There's such the build, and it is like mature, kind of emotional feeling. It isn't like
Lilo and Stitch.
oh, there's like it's not Lilo and Stitch. Yeah. So I'm down for it.
Down the clown.
Yep. It was
Down to
good.
clown.
Okay, the ingredients, we got Brad Bird as director.
What else has Brad Bird done?
He
Incredibles.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We looked this up. Yeah.
He did
Ratatouille.
Mission
Ratatouille.
Impossible, Ghost Protocol.
That's one of my favorite Mission Impossibles out of all of them.
Ratatouille might be my favorite Pixar.
Yeah.
Ratatouille's
Ratatouille's
fucking
up
beautiful.
there
Out of all
for
of
me.
them.
Yeah.
It's
Maybe,
amazing.
You know, maybe Toy Story.
The
just
ride
'cause
at
of
Disney
the-
World is
but,
phenomenal also.
Ratatouille is fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, Brad Bird is like when you learn more about him, he seems like as a person he would be tricky. They in the documentary about this movie, they talked to his EP that he worked with on the Iron Giant, and famously in an interview, like an interviewer's asking her like, "Well, how was it working with Brad Bird?" And it takes her a second, and she was like, "I fucking hated working with Brad Bird," right? And he seems like he would be that kind of guy in a way that someone who I'm trying to think of, like Steve Jobs, I guess, someone who's so brilliant,
Like perfectionist.
and they turn off all the noise except for their thing.
Right,
They're not
yeah.
cutting deals with like the freaking Camel Committee.
Right. And but he's a fucking genius, and he got going. The thing that has always been so impressive to me about Brad Bird is he was so in love with animation as a kid. He makes this. They explain this in the documentary that Scotty and I watched. It's called A Giant's Dream: Making of the Iron Giant. It's on YouTube. It's an hour. It's a lot about animation, so it's probably not for everybody. But when he's a little kid, I'm talking like 10 years old, he makes this animated movie that he wanted to make about the tortoise and the hare. And his parents, who I don't know, he talks about there was a connection to Disney in the family. They show the movie to some Disney animators, not some Disney animators. There were these famous Disney animators called the 9 Old Men who made all of the best shit in the beginning. And the most famous of them was Milt Kahl, who did the Jungle Book, who, like, if you're an illustrator, he's so famous because of the way he does hands, and he's brilliant. Brad Bird goes and meets all those guys, and they're like, "Okay, kid, like, yeah, you're working pretty good at this, but at some point it's gonna become work, and you're gonna fall out of love with it." But he doesn't, and then he finishes it. They're like, "Let us see it when you finish it." He finishes it, and they offer him like an internship at Disney, which at the time had never happened. So he's the first like young person to go to Disney, and he's apprenticing under Milt Kahl, who's like really hard on him. And anyways, it's like this illustrator like Spartan training. So Brad Bird becomes this fucking animation superhero. Wow. And by the time he hits Iron Giant, he's 42 years old. His sister has just been murdered, not just, but he's lived through that. And I think he's kind of like at that place you get to at 40 where it's like, what's my legacy? Mm-hmm. And
not me, dog. 38 next week. 38 next week.
And he, well, when you hit 40, see if you feel that way. But I think he wants to swing for the fences on this all the way.
Yeah.
And didn't he? I think he graduated like an art institute. Doesn't he go to work for Disney?
Yeah, he does.
Initially, and then they're kind of. Does he quit? He quits.
It's in the shitty time for Disney, like in at the end of
the 90s.
Yeah, at the end of the 90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tarzan was like the last like, and then they have this run of like shit that's not great. And when Brad Bird shows up there, all of his heroes are leaving. They're retiring. And that's when they go into like super safe, super bullshit kind of animation, and he's like,
Sounds like work.
Yeah.
it really is. And he's like, what are we doing? Like, he's, you know what I mean, 24 years old. Like, let's get after it. And he's just making more problems than. And anyway, he has this huge falling out, which I can't imagine how devastating that would be to your heart, to like grow up idolizing this thing. You finally get there and it's bullshit to the point where you're like, I have to stand on my own principles and like, fuck this place, I'm leaving. I can't imagine what that did to him.
That's why I don't want to work at Chick-fil-A. It would ruin everything.
One of my son's girls works at Chick-fil-A.
That same thing kind of happened to me in a way. I went to college to be in radio, because I grew up loving music and grew up, and of course there was like the Howard Stern thing that was happening in the 90s. You know, and it got really big, and I was like, man, I want to be in radio. This sounds awesome. Then I got there in 2000, and that's when Sirius came out and satellite radio and all that stuff, and Tom Petty put out the song "The Last DJ" and all that. The shit's dying. And I go into internship I did 2 different radio stations. Both guys that I worked with are like, this is not the field you need to be in. This is dying.
Get out of here.
Get out. And then I'm like,
R.I.P. Eric.
right. And there you go. And so I feel that at the same time, but they were able to creatively pivot, because that's when Disney eventually acquired Pixar.
Yeah.
And then went into a new realm of animation.
Sure.
And took over that route. And the old Disney formula just didn't work.
Yeah.
After a while.
Brad Bird talks about this in the documentary, where he's like, we're not doing this. Like, we're making a PG-13. I want people to feel stuff. That we're not cutting to a musical number. It had become what happens when something makes money, and they just apply the formula, right?
The cookie cutter, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Brad Bird was tired of that, and all these animators that were kind of on the fringes anyway were like, oh, I want to follow this guy, which is partially why they were able to make the movie for the amount of money that they were able to make it for, because nobody on the staff besides Brad Bird, but he had never directed a movie. There were so many people, like the head of story, the executive producer, the tons of people. This was their first feature film, which is a lot to gamble on, and they did it in half the time that it takes Disney to make a movie. It was that thing where, if you've ever been a part of that when you're young, where you just believe in something and you make it, and how good that feels, and then you look back on it and you're like, God, that was kind of a shit situation, but you wouldn't trade that out. And because you were broke and nobody believed in you and all that, the thing that you made was incredible. I think
you see it everywhere in art, period.
For sure.
Or you're talking about directors or musicians or any of that other stuff, whenever they have no other thing to do but create.
Right. Their freshman thing was
Right.
like, damn, because they're trying to climb out, punch out of something.
Yep. And
then their sophomore album is ass usually.
Right.
Well, you have your whole life to write that first album,
Yep.
and then you have 12 months to do the second one.
It's Back to the Future, which Back to the Future 2 is pretty great, but
It is pretty good.
the first one is perfect.
First one's
But
amazing.
it was so. I think around that time frame, something else that happened was Disney's audience changed, because at the same time you got the tail end of Gen X coming up, and then you have the millennials coming in that grew up with a lot of animation around. We grew up with the Ren and Stimpies, and they grew up with the Saturday morning cartoons of the 80s and all that other stuff. And the core audience of just kids that was Disney's audience for so long kind of died.
Yeah.
And then you see the guys like DreamWorks who came up with Shrek, and there's adult humor laced all through
that was
Shrek.
like the new formula. It was like, hey, we got to make this fun for kids and adults to get them to go to the movies or whatever.
Right.
And so you have all the innuendos and whatnot.
And the Iron Giant, what I liked about it is it was mature enough to have those feelings in there of lost, and you got the working single mom, and you got the kid at home who just throws fish sticks in the oven whenever he needs to.
Sounds pretty
and
woke.
it added a lot of elements that you didn't see in animation.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
nothing was a dream world, you know. I mean, well, you did have like, you know, the robot coming from outer space, and where did it come from? And you know, this is my buddy now. But it added all the other elements in there that you typically just don't see, you know, or didn't see at that time frame, and it was really, really neat.
This was really kind of the first animation that I remember. I'm sure there's some other examples, but this kind of kicked the door open for, like, in my opinion, because I feel like even now, people don't watch animated stuff because they associate it with children and they're grown. But this movie, I think, was the first time an adult could watch an animated movie and like feel something for real,
Yeah.
the way that and there's so many more like this now that, you know, famously, and it comes up in the documentary, but you know, the movie comes out, it does shitty. The whole team is like, Jesus, like, that sucked. We busted our ass on this and nobody cares. And they didn't. Guillermo del Toro calls Brad Bird and is like, hey, this film is a masterpiece. It will have very long legs. So just hold your breath, because later on it will turn into something. And then later, Guillermo del Toro, who is such a advocate of animation, he wins the Oscar for Pinocchio a couple years ago. And he, in his speech, go watch that speech, he's just like, animation is not just for fucking kids. Like, it's a beautiful art form that can tell a really complicated story if you give it a chance. So yeah.
I remember my first time that I realized that it was early 2000s. My kid was my son Tristan was born not long after that, and I remember having him there. I laid him down to bed, and then I watched Finding Nemo. That opening sequence tore me up.
Yeah, when he loses the mom. Yeah, it is.
Tore me up. The same thing happened like later on whenever Up came out.
Up was
and that
first opening
sequence
sequence?
of
One
Up.
and done, dog.
Yeah,
Dude,
it
watched
was-
Up one time, and I was like, I can't watch this
and
again.
dude,
it's
it
so
was-
good.
And like part of that is like, you know, things that Brad Bird's doing with, you know, emotion and kind of other things he's doing with casting is things that Pixar's doing later that when he joins them, that's like the right fit because they care about like these things
Yes.
and showing this and like not casting just the biggest movie star around right now or whatever.
Yeah, that shows up again in his work. But they do kind of, and not only that, in terms of like other people like copying that, seeing that formula works, right? Like Ryan Reynolds forces Deadpool out into the world, and now it's like, oh, R-rated superhero movies can work and make a lot of money, so we're going to make those now,
There's
right?
gonna be a dime a dozen.
Right.
Yeah.
Brad Bird shows this really complicated emotional cartoon, and then it's like, oh, it's okay to do this, and you get movies like Up and Finding Nemo and Coco. I cried at the end of Coco. It was so sad.
Coco's pretty freaking good, dude.
Yeah. But the other thing that this movie does, which maybe a lot of people won't care about, but technologically in animation, they pioneered so much shit. Like, later Toy Story gets made shortly after this, right?
I think it's before. I think Toy Story's before this movie.
No,
It was
Toy Story is
94.
99.
94.
Was it really?
I think it's 99.
Iron
have to
Giant's
look that
99.
up.
Toy Story is, I think,
It-
96.
it's older than
I
you
wanna
think
say
it
it's
is.
96.
Or it's 95.
I'm almost
It might be
positive.
95. I thought it was 94 even.
I'll wait for confirmation, but
Toy-
anyway,
95 actually.
Yep.
95.
It was so
Thought it
fun.
was later.
The other day, my granddaughter's been watching animated movies, and she's got into like Monsters Inc. and stuff like that, and they put on Toy Story, and my daughter Lauren came in the living room right as soon as that came on. She's like, "Man, this CGI looks like shit." and then the first thing came by, well, yeah, it's 30 years old,
Yeah.
and then it broke my heart to say Toy Story is 30 years old.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
true. Ben and I used to talk about that all the time at work when they would want like graphic stuff. They would immediately go to like, well, let's do this 3D thing. And I was always like, 3D stuff does not age well. If you go back and watch hand animated stuff, that's why the Disney cartoons from the 50s,
Dude,
you
yeah.
can still set and watch that. 3D stuff ages like shit usually. What they do in this movie is the Iron Giant is 100% 3D and CGI, but they incorporated all this different technology with like making the lines look like they were hand drawn. They were creating software to make this picture James Cameron style, where it's like, oh, we don't have the camera, so I'll make it myself.
Wow.
So I have a lot of respect for that. And they were animating the robot and then hand drawing over the cells. So you've got this mix of, well, you know, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, except it was live action, mixing these two art forms.
Cells interlinked.
Yeah, which is so far ahead of its time because later you see The Mandalorian, and Ben and I have talked about this a lot too. It's like a new technology comes out and we overuse the shit out of it, right? So you look at the prequels to Star Wars and we've overused CGI technology and they kind of look stupid. And the first Star Wars, none of that existed, so they're having to hand make everything, and some of that doesn't look great. But in The Mandalorian, when you mix live action and CGI, it looks fucking awesome, right? When they get the balance right. I think Iron Giant has the right balance out of necessity, but also because I think that team was fighting against, like, we're not going to replace all animators with 3D animators.
I honestly didn't know it wasn't all completely hand drawn.
Yeah, the Iron
It
Giant's not.
had that feel the whole time.
And like the robot is the way they did the lines was like, what is it about? It's squiggly. What was the deal there, James?
They just, I don't even know. I don't remember what the software was called, but if you go back and watch it again, there's a lot of like big lift stuff. When you're animating something by hand and it's a hard surface object, keep like if a guy jumps through the air, right, and you're animating that, because it's organic, the measurements don't have to be exact, right, where it doesn't feel fucky. If you animate a car flying off a cliff, and as we're changing camera angles in the animation, if that car shifts in any, it's really jarring, it's really noticeable. So in order to fight that, they make a 3D model so it's always the same, but in order to keep it from looking computer generated, they created some software that made the lines look like they had been hand drawn. So it gives it this very accurate 2D animation feel. It's perfect.
I'm guessing, and this just kind of dawned on me because around that same time frame was whenever South Park came out, and South Park was all hand moved in.
It was paper. Yeah,
put in a mouth, and they eventually transitioned into like a computer generate. It probably followed along the same lines as that, or inspired it.
Sure. Yeah, I think there's this thing we do this thing, it's happening now with AI. The example I always use is like the Angry Birds era. When Angry Birds first drops and you see the art for that, you're like, oh, this is really cool. But then it makes a lot of money. And every mobile game that comes out after that, and a lot of just regular video games, they just use this like clip art shit.
Yeah.
And after a couple iterations, you're like, oh my God, like it doesn't look good to you. Now you're seeing video games that are literally claymation, like hand animated video games to just make it feel like a person made it, because somewhere in our soul we want that so much. And we can spot it really quickly after the newness wears off, like what's happening with AI. You can spot 2 years ago, if I had shown you an AI video from now,
back to Iron Giant.
Yeah, you wouldn't have been able to pick it out.
We got 1 bar of fucking battery, James, and I'm not.
Okay.
I'll be honest, I don't even know how much battery the camera has.
Okay, so this is what someone wrote about Dean. Anna Menta. He wore sunglasses indoors and a turtleneck that matched his pitch black hair. He drank coffee, had a tiny little goatee, and didn't subscribe to mainstream society. He lived alone in a messy apartment and technically ran a junkyard, but mostly he just worked on his art all day. He was just allowed to do that. It sounded like the dream to me. And talking about how Dean is like her forever cartoon crush, and how he's so welcoming to Hogarth, and like was like, are you gonna call my mom? He's like, oh, I don't alert the authorities, my man, or whatever he says, and how he is like with the robot, and like all of a sudden how there's this vulnerability with Dean, and I think he's like a really cool character for this movie, and a character you wouldn't see in a lot of these movies at this point.
Yeah, I think Dean's super cool. Brad Bird created Dean, Mansley, the agent, and the mom. They weren't in the original iteration of this that was written by the original author, whose last name is Hughes, which is why their last name is Hughes in the movie. But he's also cool because Harry Connick Jr. voiced him, who at the time was just like the coolest dude on earth.
Yeah.
Kick the tires, light the fires, Big Daddy.
Yeah, he's so cool.
What was funny, as soon as this movie started, and I discovered Hogarth's single mom, I started trying to ship every person, every every adult male that came in there, and then first it was the agent, and I was like, maybe not, and then he kind of made comments about her, and then later on that he came in, and
as soon as you meet Dean, you're like, that's who it's gonna be.
There it is, right there. There's Hogarth's future daddy.
Jennifer Aniston doing this movie at the time is a huge slam dunk too. She's fucking crazy famous right then. Like,
Yeah.
What
she's
was
Friends
funny?
famous.
I couldn't pick out her voice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same. Yeah.
I knew
Yeah.
that because most voice actors they have you can relate it back to the person who did it, and just
It's almost
watching
like
her.
It's almost like they draw around their
yeah,
They do
their
a
like
lot.
their like mannerisms or
They change Hogarth in the original iteration that they had started. Hogarth had red hair and freckles. The kid that voiced him, I'm gonna forget his name. I'm sorry about that.
It's a weird name.
Yeah, he's got dark hair and no freckles. They changed Hogarth to match the kid, and a lot of his animated sequences are, which they do that a lot. Robin Williams famously in Aladdin with the genie.
yeah. That's what that's like a perfect
They just
example.
draw to the
Yeah,
performance,
yeah.
which is smart, really smart.
yeah.
Eli Marienthal, like the kid.
Yeah.
When he's doing the prayer, and he's like, and God protect us. He's like seeing all the stuff the robot's doing that he's just like he's reacting to, but he's trying to keep it in the prayer. I think his performance is great.
Mansley is one of my favorite characters. He's so funny.
Shooter McGavin.
Yeah, Shooter.
Yeah.
Shooter.
Yeah.
That whole sequence in the beginning when he's trying to get information with from Hogarth and he just keeps giving. Which, by the way, Hogarth, like, he's getting fucked with at school every day with that.
Yeah.
So
I'm
he's
surprised
gotta
that
be a
wasn't
tough
more
kid.
pronounced in the movie. You know?
Why would you do that to a kid? But that whole sequence after he comes to stay at their room, rent their room, and he's just
Dude,
like,
which is
"Hey, sport. Hey, champ."
which is fucking crazy.
It is weird.
Sarah and I both were like, because the mom's a single mom and she's like working, and it's just like your kid's just at home with a total stranger, dude, that you just met and rented a room. We were like, what the fuck is this?
It-
50s was a
they were
different
different
time.
No,
times.
I think they
man.
probably got that stuff going on
And
now.
that guy was a piece of shit.
Yeah, not a good dude.
Anyway,
Yeah, it was those. Were
something
different
else going
times.
on.
He wasn't diddle a little kid creep, but he was
No,
not a
but
good
like,
dude. Yeah.
Mhm.
You know,
Like Brad Bird's, his sister was murdered by her husband, and he had this idea of like, what if a gun had a soul, and what if it didn't want to be a gun, and that's like kind of what you have with this robot is this who's weapon of mass destruction, but he doesn't want to be, and he who is he going to be? Does he have to do this? And that's like one of the themes in the film that's like really, really interesting.
There's that heartbreaking scene. To me, it's heartbreaking where, the giant goes into like attack mode.
Yeah.
And after Hogarth calms him down, he's like panting, like he's kind of panicking. And Hogarth's like, "It's okay, it's okay, it's okay." He's trying to calm him down from just like a kid place of like, I know who you are, and that's not really who you are. I don't know,
Yeah, it's hard, man.
monumental.
Hit you in the feels, man.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that I didn't know a whole lot about this going in.
Yeah, same. I hadn't. Dude,
And-
honestly, I couldn't even tell you the premise or the like zero zip about this movie.
I think that's
And-
the best way to see anything, really,
Yeah.
isn't it?
That kind of dawned on me a little bit as we were watching. Was just it felt political at first because as soon as I heard they started bringing guns into it.
Right, it seems
and
like it's going to be an
then-
anti-gun campaign.
Right, but that's not the way it ended up being. And
No.
I love it whenever you can make a statement
Without it being in your face. the whole-
right?
Yes.
and it doesn't come off as political. It comes off
or
as
preachy,
Yeah.
or
right, and it doesn't feel cheap.
Right.
And this is an incredibly human thing, and it doesn't come across your head with anything. It doesn't make you feel dirty at the end of it. It doesn't feel like someone's putting a slogan, like a sign in front
Right.
of your yard.
Right.
It just feels like this is just someone with, and it came from a place of grief.
Yeah.
really, and that's
It's not built to convince you of anything other than like,
this guy
good stuff, right?
found a way to translate his feelings after his sister got murdered.
And you can be that's the message of it, I think, right? Like what you're born into doesn't have to be who you are. Like you get to decide who you are.
Right.
At the end when the Iron Giant saves everyone and like he's flying up and like closes his eyes, I don't know, man. It's just a great movie. And the design of him was so human.
And I really liked Vin Diesel in this. I mean, just the way that he came.
Pitch Black.
He's typically one of those guys that I never quite liked him. You know,
He's got a couple good roles.
Vin Diesel.
Something always
I feel
felt
the same
too
way Joel
Hollywood
does. I'm
about
like,
him. You know,
He's fine, but you go back in because we looked him up. And we're like, whoa, what was he doing? He apparently did a lot of voiceover stuff early on. And
He's done a ton of voice.
I didn't realize how much he was grinding through his early years to get. You know,
Yeah.
I know it's Vin Diesel. He's not like Brad Pitt, but like
love
Vin
him.
Diesel's
he was
pretty-
a working.
Love him or hate him, he's earned
pretty
his
big
spot.
deal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's earned his spot for sure.
Yeah.
And he's one of those people
Whether-
like Ryan Reynolds to me, where like
Whether an inch by a mile.
I feel like
winning.
I feel like I pick on Ryan Reynolds a lot, but Ryan Reynolds is phenomenal as Deadpool. Vin Diesel, that first Riddick movie,
Yeah, Chronicles
Pitch
of Riddick.
Black
Yeah,
and
Pitch
Chronicles of
Black.
Riddick,
Yeah.
Those were
phenomenal.
really
They were
good.
good movies.
Boiler Room?
Boiler Room.
I never saw
that's
that.
Another, oh, dog. Getting the cells and then.
He's great in Saving Private Ryan. I mean,
Saving
Vin
Private
Diesel's a
Ryan.
legit fucking actor.
Yeah.
Like, Fast and Furious makes money. Money makes the
I'm
world go
just
round.
saying,
He
winning's
cashed
winning.
I
in.
mean, he cashed in at the right time.
Yeah.
He's racing for pinks.
God, so bad.
Does that mean girls?
Yes.
No. It doesn't mean that.
I know.
Disney.
I'm just kidding.
So like Brad Bird also talks about how whenever somebody tries to do something different with animation, they don't have the money that Disney has.
I don't have any
They don't have
money.
they don't have the stuff that Disney has. They don't have the staff. They don't have like all this stuff. So when they do it, it kind of looks like crap, and it isn't like really fully executed. And then that's why Disney always has had the upper hand, is because they always had this monster staff and all these animators, everything. It's like, and Brad Bird's like, what if we had that, and then we try to do other things with the animation, and we'd be on the same playing field, and there's no telling what we could do.
Right.
There's no better illustration of what you're trying to say than Ratatouille.
Yeah.
It is one of the most beautiful animated movies
And
I've
story.
ever. It's so nuanced in every single facet of the thing. And this is coming. You know, I like the culinary stuff.
Yeah.
Nailed every bit of it.
But what a
And
weird
it's-
thing to make a cartoon about.
Yeah.
And a lot of people missed it because of that.
In France. Yeah.
And I don't know. Ratatouille is beautiful. Brad Bird was very smart in this because he knew, because he had been in the trenches, like slugging it out. So he leaves Disney heartbroken. He wants to go someplace where he can push animation and try that. So where does he go? He goes to The Simpsons. He makes his own stuff. He makes Family.
I was going to say that. I was like, man, that name sounds real
Yeah.
familiar.
Yeah, he was on
And
The
it's
Simpsons. He does Family
I didn't
Dog.
even think about that.
He
I
just
almost
wants
said
to
that earlier.
like.
I was like, was he on The Simpsons?
He wants to show what's possible with animation. So when he comes back and he gets his first, right, he's 42. He's trying to show his legacy and prove that he's a badass, because he is. We've talked about that a lot. The best way that you do that is you get young people that are hungry to do something. They're not making any money as animators right now because they're fresh out of fucking college, but they want to prove something. So he brings this army of animators together, and not just the animators, but everybody. It's their first film, right? And they can pay them less. They're willing to work harder because they believe in it. They finished this movie a year faster. Tarzan started their work on Tarzan. Disney started their work on Tarzan a year earlier. They finished before them on this movie with 40 less animators than Disney had. If that makes sense. Like, they were getting it every day because they were young and hungry and like, look at what. And
Just
then,
like those Twinkies.
yeah, exactly. Like a 10,000 calorie.
There, and that's a resource not a lot of companies, tap into,
Right.
is the young, hungry people. And you see that throughout art, whether it's, movies or music. There's, I love the band 9 Inch Nails, and Scotty, I know you do too. There's a story with them where there's this guy named Richard Patrick who played with them for a while. And he goes up to Trent Reznor and says, hey, can get a little extra money and everything? We're doing all this and doing that. And Trent's like, this is my band. You go make your own fucking band. Then he goes off and makes the band Filter, and just goes off and does his own thing. But there's so much untapped talent out there in the world. There's a lot of people around our town here, just music wise, art wise, that are insanely talented, that will never get their shot.
If you're lucky enough to land in a spot where you're doing what you set out to do in any capacity, you have to remind yourself of at some point in your life, like Ben's a videographer and he makes good money now, but at some point, if I had gone to you and been like, hey, you're gonna make videos for this much money, you would have been like, oh, I don't care what the fucking videos are about. If I'm going to make that much money doing video, I would. But 100%. Now you're looking at it some days and you're like, oh my God, I got to make this video. Like, that's just human nature. That's what happens to us. So I think Brad Bird was genius in recruiting this youth army, these child soldiers to make Iron Giant.
These child soldiers. All right. Really quick, remix the ingredients. The studio wanted to try to get Brad Pitt for Dean, which...
How did that even sound?
You're not going to get it. I don't think that's... I mean, it's like a wish list.
Is there any notable like voice roles Brad Pitt has done?
Yeah, he did a Cool World when he was still trying to come
Yeah,
up.
but he was an actor, though. He was an actor.
Cool World was...
It was the
half
animated
live action, half
Yeah.
animated, though, right? So, yeah.
Kim Basinger, yeah.
I'm sure he's done an animated thing that I just can't think of right now.
And probably now, like, something. Yeah. But, like,
anime stuff. They weirdly step out and do animated stuff. Like, Christian Bale has done a lot of anime voices. I think a lot. I know he was in Howl's Moving Castle from Studio Ghibli.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that
movie's
either.
dope.
and, like, they had, like, a bunch of names, like Sarah Michelle Gellar for the mom or some other stuff. One that I really liked is Julianne Moore. I think Julianne Moore would have been really good as the mother.
She would have been wonderful. She's got that mature quality to her too.
Yeah,
you know, she's always had that, even throughout her younger career and stuff. She always got that mature, thing going on, and I she would have worked really well.
The thing that I loved about the voice casting in this movie is that a weird thing happened after Robin Williams does the genie. And now all these animation studios are like, we got to get big stars to do movies, which can really fuck with your immersion. If Brad Pitt is wildly famous and you put him in this movie, all you can hear is Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Everyone they cast in this movie while they were famous, TV was not the same back then. Jennifer Aniston was famous, but it wasn't the same as being like movie star famous. Now it's different. But everyone in this movie is well known, but they can kind of hide in the role of the movie, so they don't overpower it, and I think that makes it more special. Yeah,
it's what's funny is how big names can blend into the background on animation too. That's one thing I noticed watching the Ice Age movies, because the grandkids watching all the Ice Age movies. I think the Ice Age 3 or 4. Every person who's even on the screen for 60 seconds is a huge name. And you can't tell. And, they always have these montages at the end where it shows the people in front of the microphone doing this, that, and the other. And it keeps going through. And name after name after name after name. And what did they add to this, other than to the budget?
It really is kind of a silly thing to cast these huge names in animated stuff, unless they're just absolutely the right call. Studios do that, I think, to draw people into seats, but it's a waste of time and money. Like, there's a lot of incredible voice talent out there that's going to do it for a fraction of the cost, and then they can bury themselves.
Guys
in the
who do these things for a living,
for sure.
And
Jim Cummings, Peter Cullen.
There's a documentary out there. It's incredible, and I every time I see it pop up on a list, I always have to stop and watch it. I think it's called I Know That Voice, and it's basically just outlining all the voice actors you've ever heard of, and some of these guys like Jim Cummings and all that. They're the list of what they've done.
Everything
insane,
like Mel Blanc back in the day. With Looney Tunes.
Mel Blanc was the godfather of it all, man. It was.
Do we have anything else we want to talk about before we get to top 5?
I don't think so.
I wanted to talk about
animation's cool.
I want to talk about
animation is cool.
The deer scene where the robot, the deer dies and he doesn't know what happened, and he's sad, and Hogarth is telling him, people die. Yeah, I'm gonna die, but like the soul lives on, and
that was their most complicated scene. The documentary talks about that was their most complicated scene, but they originally the giant kills the deer by accidentally crushing it. and they didn't think that it worked well. There's a scene that they cut also that shows where the giant comes from, and it shows him being like this war machine from an alien planet, and they cut that from the film because it kind of dehumanizes the giant, which is the point. Same thing with him killing the deer. It ends up being more impactful to have him just in a flash try to figure out what just happened to this thing, but he wasn't responsible for it. And just highlighting that, like, that allegory of like life, like you're gonna lose people that you care about, because that's what happened to Brad, right? Like he loses his sister and there was nothing he could do about it, and just how to deal with that afterwards.
Right.
That's the rest of the movie. Huge scene, maybe the most important one.
All right. Now we're going to do top 5 robots in movies.
Who wants to go first on this?
I'll go first.
And ruin everybody's stuff.
I'll ruin everybody's shit.
All right, no, I'm gonna predict now, Scotty.
All right, what do you got?
He's gonna pick the Interstellar robot. That's what I'm predicting.
Oh, that was a good robot.
Go.
My number 1, Terminator T2, Arnold.
That's good stuff.
Yeah,
That's
My,
good stuff.
my number 2 is Johnny 5, Short Circuit.
Damn.
Oh, I have that one too. Yeah, I have that
so
one
good.
knocked out.
Input.
But that was one of my backups.
3, R2D2.
Yeah.
Okay,
You
okay.
can't. Yeah, you can't have it without R2D2.
4, I'm going to go Data from Star Trek Next Generation. Number 5, Siko in Rocky 4.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, I
dug
forgot
back.
about him, dude.
That dug
God,
back.
when you saw that as a
was-
kid, you were like, I want to be robot rich. Goddamn.
that
Yeah.
was the one with Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
it, wasn't
yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
Like training
yeah.
in Russia.
I
And
plumb
the
forgot
robot's
all
like
about that.
has the cake for Polly and has like a
Happy
chef's
birthday.
hat
That's
on.
pretty
so
good.
Like,
funny.
Yeah.
Paulie said
like-
something about her
yeah.
being his girlfriend or something.
That's funny.
Honorable mention, I got Bishop and Aliens, and I've got Gigolo Joe and AI.
Okay.
Okay, what do you guys got?
I had a lot of the same. The only two I had that you didn't have was K250 from Rogue One.
It's good.
K2SO.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
K2SO.
Yeah. K2SO is great.
And yeah, when he slaps him, and he's like, "There's a fresh one if you mouth
Yeah.
off again." And then Wally.
Wally's great.
I had
hate Wally.
I had Marvin
Really?
from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah.
great.
And he's the one that stood out to be, other than R2D2. He's in R2D2's number 1 on my list because Homeboy's just classic.
Yeah, R2D2
But
is great.
Marvin is voiced by Alan Rickman, and
Alan
just
Rickman.
wonderful. K2SO from Rogue One and Andor. He was also in Andor.
Never saw it.
Was you need to just get past your shit and watch
I
Andor.
will, man. I
It's
will.
brilliant.
I've been thinking about
It's a
it.
personality thing for him. It's like, oh, is this really popular? Fuck it, I'm not.
It's your
watching it.
identity now.
It is, man.
And
Man, it
it's
really
a
is,
slow
man.
burn at first, but once you get
It's
on
a-
it,
It's a really slow burn. Man.
it is. But they set up so much. Anyway,
I did not feel
K2SO
like
is
that,
also voiced
but-
by Alan Tudyk, who if we're talking about voiceover legends.
Yeah, he does everything.
Yeah, he's great. Crow from Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
nice, yeah.
I grew
never
up.
could fall in love with that.
Man,
I tried.
I love. I grew up watching it though, and that's just I was able to get into it there. Bishop from Aliens was my other one, and of course R2D2. But
Yeah, Ben, what do you got?
I've got some. Big Hero 6.
Oh damn!
good.
I almost
That is
put
good.
that in.
nice,
That is good.
Baymax. Yeah.
I've got Baymax. I've got the robot from the new Predator, the chick that.
Oh,
carries
nice.
around-
Yeah.
I really like. I
Yeah.
almost like that more than the. Than
He's
the.
wrapped up. He's wrapped up.
Hey, buddy.
We got a doggy problem.
And I had Blade Runner.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Mhm.
Did I just accidentally delete all these?
I think you may have.
That's fucking cool, but it's still here. I have Bicentennial Man
Was that a good movie?
for Robin Williams. It's a
It's
great
good.
movie.
I never
man.
saw that
He's
one.
I never
around
saw
for
it.
like, man, y'all might. That'll get you in the feels, man, because it's basically he's on a quest to like become a human, but like in a real way. Like he starts out as like a helper robot, and then over like 200 years, obviously he's gaining knowledge, he's getting smarter, and he has more, mindfulness or whatever. And it gets to a point where like the government recognizes him as a human,
Huh?
and it's a really interesting movie, man.
I remember. Yeah, it was a good one.
God,
What'd you do?
I don't know. Must have hit
Top
something.
5 bad guys?
No, that's the same
I
title.
love it when robots get citizenship. Like Short Circuit, I think he gets citizenship at the end of Short Circuit 2.
Yeah.
And then I had I don't know. That's it. Cause I had Vision.
Oh, Vision's
from
great.
Marvel.
Yeah.
From Marvel.
That was actually Sarah's. That was Sarah's.
Careful, text. He's still wrapped up.
Dude.
There you go, buddy. There you go.
Okay.
You
Dog
got
safe.
unwrapped.
But yeah, that's more or
Yeah.
less my.
I almost wanted to put like some of these wacky robots we had in the 80s movies, like Revenge of the Nerds. Like, just like, you'd have like some robots not really integral to the storyline, but it's just there because it's a fucking robot.
Or like Pee Wee's Playhouse.
Yeah.
man.
With the,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What was his name?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
You said the word
it
of
had
the
like he had
day.
the tape deck on
Yeah,
on
what
the
fuck
front.
What's his name? I
yeah.
can't remember it.
All right. What's your doggy bag, guys?
I didn't think much about this going in. I was kind of like, wasn't really hyped about this at all. Tuesday night after I watched it, changed my mind completely. This is you never hear about this movie in like this grandiose, fashion. It does not get the respect it deserves. But on first watching, it really blew me away. Really, just the humanity of it and the longevity of it and how it it puts itself in the room with all the other Disney movies without actually being in the room with all the other Disney movies.
It's a different
Because
thing.
it's you're never going to see it in the top 5 of like Disney classics, but it should be. Just by the way it shifted and the way the dynamics of the entire animation field in movies was changing at the time, and how it was one of those pivotal movies to where it spun off animation into a new direction.
Yeah.
As far as story development goes, and it's got legs, man. And after 27 years, it holds up. It really does.
It's a good movie. More or less what Joel said. I didn't think anything of it going into it. It ended up being really good. The more than half of it really hit all the nostalgia stuff for me, and then the second half more or less was like the human, empathetic stuff. And it, like I was sad at the end of the movie. I don't really like feeling like that. That doesn't mean it's a bad movie, but it ended up being pretty good, man. But yeah, it is wild to me that it's 8.1 and Sinners is 7.5.
Well, one thing that I do like, just as an addendum, is story is huge. Whether you're creating something, whether you're making music, whether you're making a show or a movie or drawing a picture, say something. That's the one thing that I've always come down to is whenever you have this thing and you're creating this thing, say something with what you're doing.
Yep.
And they said something, and it was very poignant, and it worked really, really well, and that scratched all the itches for me. It really did. So on a personal level, it really did.
Well, I appreciate you guys letting this one get through when we voted on movies for this year, and it means a lot to me that everybody gave it the time that I think it deserved, and I think it's important. Like, art should say something, and sometimes, right? What's the rule? If it's an 8 or above and it's not your thing, you should watch it, or you're an asshole. It's worth your time. Watch it with somebody you love, even if you don't
This
really
is
like
one of
animated
those, like
stuff.
when we do the pod, I would never watch this song.
Right.
I just wouldn't. It's not anything
For
personal
sure.
or bad. It's not on my radar either, But doing this kind of forces you to like I'll put y'all through Tokyo Drift. I'm aware, So it's like, no, I'm gonna watch Iron Giant. I'm gonna give it like a no bullshit, college try into it or whatever. It ended up being a really good movie.
Yeah, no, it had all the right stuff, and from a, the regular folks who don't really give a shit about animation, you don't have to care about that to
Yeah,
love this movie.
yeah.
For visual people, animators and illustrators, this movie is like holy grail. Like, it's so
the brave
beautiful.
little toaster.
It's so beautiful. What?
I was like the brave little
Brave Little
toaster.
Toaster.
Yeah, exactly. That was a pretty good animated movie.
Yeah, that was good.
There's another one that I want to try to sneak in later called Monster House that Spielberg did.
Oh, dude.
It's so great.
It
Never saw
is.
I
I
love.
walked out of it.
Really?
Are you serious?
And that may have been a me thing and maybe not be a movie thing. I think I was going through something.
Yeah, maybe another track. Maybe watch it with me. We'll watch that
You
together.
came back with a Slurpee, but it was already
Monster
over.
House. Monster House was incredible.
Came back with a Turbo Twinkie.
Fantastic.
I think when you can watch an animated film and like genuinely wish or acknowledge that, like, man, if this had been like an 80s like Goonies movie
Oh, dude.
that had come out when you were a kid,
Yeah.
you would have seen this movie 100 times already. But because it was animated, it kind of slips by you.
Yep.
But there's a lot of those like that. Monster House is another one. Anyway, that's my doggy bag. Watch cartoons.
We talked about Scott Pilgrim bombing at the box office, and someone telling Edgar Wright years, not days. So this weekend isn't the definitive ruling on this movie.
No.
It's the same with this. So a movie that comes out in '99, one of the greatest movie years ever, and is going up against The Sixth Sense
The
with
Matrix.
no marketing strategy and no rollout. It wasn't gonna be pretty. And in 1999 and every day since it's been released, the themes have been relevant. They are relatable to all of us right now in this divide and conquer era. And what if a gun doesn't want to be a gun? You have the power to choose. You have the choice to be Superman.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
There are two kinds of metal in this yard, scrap and art. If you got to eat one of them, eat the scrap. What you currently have in your mouth is art. Mac and cheese out.
Dude, that's my favorite scene in that movie. What you currently have